What's going on, everyone? Stellar's Prime here, and today I'm going to be talking about how accuracy shouldn't make a figure worse. Now, I've got some examples lined up here. Basically, I'm saying because a figure is accurate to the toy or the show or the model, um, or at least it tries to be, it doesn't exactly make it better. And in some cases, these here, it makes it worse. Now, I'm going to be showing off some really bad offenders and some okay offenders. So we're going to go from what I think is not terrible and get to really bad. So let's start off with Barricade. Now, Barricade is a figure that's not known to be very articulated. We know that because he isn't. I mean, he's got, what is that, a 30 at the elbow? But all of this kibble and all of this limited articulation is to make a better vehicle mode. We know that his vehicle mode is really, really good. But does that mean that we should suffer from a really bad robot mode? I mean, it's not a great robot mode. I still enjoy it, and if you enjoy any of these figures, more to you. I wish I enjoyed the figures as much as you did. But I do have to point out that these figures have flaws, and that because they try to be accurate, it does make them worse, alright? So, that's Barricade. I also want to mention that the Decepticon Soldier being those really bland colors because the game was dark. Just make the figure look how it actually looked in the game. I don't care what it looks like in real life. Just make it look cool and not bland and boring, please. Jeez. Alright, and our next example is going to be Mirage. Again, vehicle mode. I understand that Porsche didn't allow them to break up, the logo and all that. Whatever. We still can't deny that this figure is very poorly engineered and very brittle. The choices that they made just for this figure to be accurate really, really make it worse. And I don't think anybody can tell you with a straight face that this looks like Mirage, because it really doesn't. Like, take away the head and show this to somebody, and they're not really going to tell you it's Mirage. Like, if this was revealed just this, there's really no clear way you know it's Mirage. I mean, sure, colors and everything, but, like, it doesn't look like Mirage. The alt mode's great. Again, the alt mode's great. Looks just like a Porsche. It's great. But is it worth it? No. No, it's not. I'm going to answer that for you. It's not. The next offender of this, I haven't opened Sideburn yet, so I'm going to have Shadow Striker as a stand-in. I understand that he did it in the show, guys. I understand that the toy did it. I don't care. Parts forming pieces that aren't good, and with parts forming, typically parts forming is to make the transformation easier and to make the alt mode overall look better. That's, Earthrise Cliffjumper did that, and I think it benefited from that. It didn't make the figure worse. It didn't make the figure better. It didn't really change anything about Cliffjumper. You could say parts forming is bad, and that's what made it bad. Sure, but typically parts forming helps make things easier, which is okay or it's not okay, depending on how you feel about it. But this parts forming here, it makes it just worse, way worse. The alt mode looks terrible. It doesn't even sit flush. There's a bunch of cracks all in the alt mode. It doesn't look right. The alt mode's not even correct. And the proportions are all off of this because it was a pre-tool, but that's not what I'm getting at. I'm saying that because it had to be accurate to the toy, and because the toy and the show did it, it has to parts form. And it doesn't make it better at all. It just makes it kibbly and terrible. Alright. The next offender is this guy, Blitzwing. So I think when we all saw that tank mode for the first time, we were like, what? What is that on the front? And they said it was accurate to the cartoon. And we're like, okay. So we look up a model, here's the model, and we're like, okay, yeah, it has a sliver of the cockpit sticking out. Not like 10 feet of cockpit just out there for the world to see it. Alright? And you know what? That's fine. That wouldn't be the problem. If the tank mode wasn't completely incorrect, the tank mode of the Legacy is not the same as the model. They're completely different. And you could say, but still are. This one shot of Blitzwing looks exactly like the Legacy one. I don't care. That's one shot. The G1 cartoon wasn't even accurate to itself. But the model that the model that all of the artists base each frame off, that's like true blue accurate. And the tank mode of this, completely different. So they not only failed to be accurate, but they made the figure worse in trying to be accurate. And it didn't work. And don't even get me started on the jet mode. Good lord, the jet mode. What a train wreck. This figure is still okay, though, in my opinion. Next up. Here he is, everybody. It's the Fallen. Great robot mode. This is actually the exact opposite of Mirage and Barricade. Great robot mode. In terms of looks, the quality issues on mine are pretty bad. But the transformation, the alt mode, aren't existent. He doesn't have an alt mode. People say, well, that's what the original toy did back in 2010. I don't give a crap. They should at least have tried to give him something. That's not an alt mode. That weird crab-looking thing, that's not an alt mode. Heck, Prime vs. Prime's Star Harvester gave more of a crap than whatever this thing turned into, alright? It's bad. It's bad. And I think the worst culprit of all of these is this guy, is Hotshot. Now, I've made several videos on this, but it's time to actually, like, finally say it. This is the main guy on accuracy making it worse. You guys are like, well, Stellaris, I bet you've never watched a second of Cybertron, because that's exactly what he looked like in the show. And, you know, and that's what the toy looked like. Well, guess what? They based the show models right off of the toy. So if the toy has kibble, so is the show. So you're telling me you're okay with kibble, right? That's what you're saying, is because it's show accurate, you're okay with kibble. Cool. Sure. You want to make it worse. So you're saying a 19-year-old figure with kibble should still have kibble because it's toy accurate. Sure. Alright, tell me this. If they made an update of Cybertron Blur, because they did the same thing with these Cybertron figures, took the toy right in the show. Same thing. You're telling me that if they made a Legacy United Blur, that you're okay with this backpack because it's accurate to the toy and accurate to the show? No, you're not. This is bad. This is really bad. And you're telling me he shouldn't have knees because the original toy doesn't have knees? No! That argument of it being accurate and that's what he's always looked like, that's completely illogical. You can't say that because the only reason he looked like that was because the designers just took the kibbly toy because that's what the toys looked like back then, and they just slapped it right in the show. They didn't make it look any better. Alright, and you could say, I actually wasn't able to find any frames of Cybertron Blur, but I know that Armada Blur was a thing, and this is a retool of that, and Armada Blur looked just like this, with this backpack. So, there you go. If that's your argument, you're scrambling to the comments. Sorry, thought of that. And, again, if you enjoyed these figures, that's awesome. I'm not saying this is a bad figure. I'm just saying that it shouldn't have this problem, and the shoulders shouldn't be like this just because the toy and the show did that. Alright, it's so dumb why they have to make a figure worse for accuracy. It's so dumb, alright? How many times have I said alright? But, anyways, that's just me getting off some steam, and hopefully you guys change your minds and actually look at it from a logical standpoint instead of, it's accurate, so it's okay. No. Don't let Hasbro fool you. Don't let that, it's accurate, so it's okay, part of your brain fool you. Look at the logical standpoint of this. This, also, I heard some people saying, oh yeah, I can fold out, so articulation's fine. No, it's not. And every time I pick the figure up, the backpack untabs. Alright? If this wasn't here, maybe by picking up like this, it would be fine. But no. It's not, alright? But that's it. That's all I've got to say. Yeah. Video coming Saturday. See y'all.
That being said, Stellaris out.